Some of you may have heard the name Dia Pendleton. She was a young girl who lived in Chicago. She actually went to King College Prep High School, and some years ago she was shot. She wasn't the intended target, but there was some gun violence, and so as a result, her parents, Cleopatra Pendleton, they started a movement. A movement kind of formed around them, so that around June 2nd of every year, there's a Wear Orange Day. It's really become a national movement. So you all are here with people all across the United States and abroad that are celebrating, not celebrating, but participating in the Wear Orange Day. You may have seen these signs. If you don't have the signs, we have a couple that say "We Can End Gun Violence" and we have "Wear Orange." We're asking that all of you take pictures today. Hashtag, if you're on social media, Twitter or Facebook, hashtag Wear Orange, and just kind of show people your support for this. So you're not alone. You're connected to a national movement. There's all kinds of events that are going on all weekend. We did it today because it was Friday and we want to bring everybody together to participate, but there'll be events today and in the city tomorrow on June 2nd in some places in many of the parks across the United States, where they'll also be joined with elected officials, municipal employees, and others participating in this day. So it's about common sense gun laws, ending illegal not drug trafficking. Well, you want to end that too, but illegal gun trafficking and the proliferation of illegal guns. Those are the things that we're talking about. And of course, everybody wants to see an end to senseless shootings. When the other day, yesterday, a 7-year-old was shot in Chicago. So we don't want to see those things. So with that, thank you for participating and taking some time out of your schedule. We're starting in here, but after we have a couple of speakers, we're going to go outside and take a group shot. And so that we ask that you all participate in that as well. All right. So at this time, I'd like to call forth the police chief, Chief Robert M. Collins, Jr. Please receive him with a warm round of applause.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. And the majority of everyone in here knows me, but for those of you that don't, I'm Chief Collins of Dolton Police Department. We also have the Deputy Police Chief Ernest Mobley here too. One thing as far as gun violence is concerned out there, we actually have to deal with this, and it has to be in the forefront of our mind every day, not just today, but it is great to bring awareness on a single day where everyone can come together and think about this. And then the last time we did this, we talked about starting a conversation on how to deal with violence in general and also gun violence. But now it's time to stop talking about it, and it's time to actually start doing something about it. So you say to yourselves, well, you're not a police officer. What can you do? What is it that you can do out there that will help stop this gun violence out there? We all know that gun violence is a everyday part of life. We see it on the news day in, day out, morning, noon, and night, about how some poor soul lost their life because of some gun violence. You can tell your children, tell your family to call the police. It's just as simple as that. There's kids out there that have guns, and believe it or not, the people that we know who those people are that have these guns, these illegal guns. Now, I'm not saying anyway put anybody's safety in jeopardy and get out there and put yourself out there like that. But you can leave an anonymous tip, whether it's Dolton Police Department, whether it's Chicago Police Department, Riverdale, Calumet City, or whatever. You could leave an anonymous tip and remain nameless. But let's do something to help get these guns off the streets. You know, we as police officers, we take guns off the street weekly. There's an uncounted number of guns, illegal guns, that are out there on the streets, and they're every day in our presence, and you may not know about them, we may not know about them all the time, but they're out there. And we do everything we can to get those off the streets with us, the assistance of Cook County Sheriff's Department also, but we do everything we can. We went to an event actually last couple days at schools, and we had a chance to talk to little kids. And every time we see kids, we can't help but wonder and think about these kids having a great lifestyle and living up and growing up to being adults, and we think about, will all of them be able to realize their 10th birthday or their 15th birthday? And we know that in the hails of gunfire, kids fall. Adults fall, but it's a tragedy losing children. And it's senseless and it's stupid. And we all have a duty and an obligation to do something about it to protect our children. And I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate you.
All right, thank you, Chief Collins. As he said, this is beyond symbolism. This is not just a photo op. This is something to raise awareness, and that's what we're doing right now. There's a couple of things that I want to remind you of. You have these placards in your hands. What we've done is we have Sharpies here. And what we're asking you to do is if you have maybe lost somebody to gun violence, or you had someone that you know, or more than one person, because it's something that actually has touched many of us. If you know someone who was lost to gun violence, we were just asking that you write their name on that placard so that it's a way of remembering them. We're going to also put those together, create something that goes with the proclamation that we form to commemorate National Gun Violence Prevention Day. So I'll be coming around afterwards so that you all can use these Sharpies. Mayor, we're going to, okay, at this time we're going to go ahead and bring forth our Deputy Chief, Ernest Mobley, who also has some words of guidance for us. All the people who are in charge of law have some good guidance as it relates to that. So please, Chief Mobley.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, when it relates to gun violence, it's just one thing that I want to say in particular is that you can never be too aware or too alert. It's all around us, some areas more than others, and it's a lot that we see as law enforcement that you all don't know. But the only thing that we could tell you is to always be aware. As we say back in the service, keep your head on a swivel, and that's everywhere, in front of your home, in front of your other family members, going to the store, gas station, church. In this day and age, we know that there is pretty much no safe place in this day and age. Any place that you could think of has been targeted, and gun violence has ended lives. Churches, schools, municipalities, even police departments, they have came in and shot in the lobby, and those who have worked directly in that area was affected or killed. So we just want you to be aware and always pass this information on to your family, loved ones, and friends. You know, some people live in areas where they think they could still leave their doors and windows open, but they get targeted because people randomly come and check doors of homes and vehicles. And I'm sure everyone has someone somewhere in their line of family history that was killed to gun violence. And you know, it's kind of like we're living in the last days. If you're all into the Bible and you read the Bible, things that's manifesting are coming true. So once again, just please be mindful and aware and alert at all times. Thank you.
All right, so some of you may or may not know, but Mayor Rogers is a member of an organization called Mayors Against Illegal Guns, and he's actually going to speak a little bit about that in a few minutes. We're going to, or actually right now, we're going to bring forth Mayor Riley Rogers. Give him a round of applause, everybody.
Good afternoon, everyone. Earlier this week, I received an email, as we do every year, in regards to gun violence, and it came from the organization Mayors Against Illegal Guns, and it reads as: Coalition Mayors and staff, today we honor Hadiya Pendleton and all the lives that have been taken by gun violence. Today we show the world how powerful the gun violence prevention movement is. Today we get loud, we get proud, and we get orange. Thank you, Mayor Rogers, Paul S. John, Manager of Mayoral Outreach, Mayors Against Illegal Guns. When I first became mayor, I was notified and asked to join this movement, not only by the Mayors Against Illegal Guns, but by our Congresswoman Robin Kelly and our Senator Napoleon Harris. Of course, I didn't hesitate to join this. And as mayors, we receive those late night and early morning calls when someone is injured in a senseless act of gun violence. I have joined mayors across the nation to take action because we know the toll that violence can take on our community. In 2006, former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg and former Boston Mayor Thomas Menino founded Mayors Against Guns as a coalition with just 15 mayors. As I stand here today, and since then it has grown into a bipartisan group of more than over 2,000 mayors, current mayors and former mayors across the nation to fight the common sense gun laws that will stop the proliferation of illegal guns. We want to save lives. As mayors, we are duty bound to do everything in our power to make our residents safe, especially our children, from harm's way. We all want a safe community that will allow our children and families to grow and prosper. I want to thank you all for taking the time out of your schedule today to come here to support this very important movement and bring attention to the need for action in this important area on a national level. So as we finish up here, we will be going outside to take a picture that would actually go to the Mayors Against Illegal Guns and will be published in their publication. So thank you all for coming. This is not just a local effort. This is the whole country, United States, to over 2,000 mayors that have made a pledge to try to be proactive in regards to the gun violence. You know, gun violence has touched, and I think everybody in this room may have known someone or some family or heard about someone that has lost a family member. And as these police officers go to the scenes, even just here, where there's been a shooting that may eventually wind up being a murder, they're affected by it too. They have to go home to their families after handling the situation. Some of those situations are gruesome and horrific, and bloody and messy, and they have to deal with it and do their job. And it affects them personally too. So I think this is a wonderful effort to try to stop the gun violence that happens here in the United States, locally, and all over the country. And if you do a little research, you'll see some of the very important individuals and celebrities that have taken up this cause to try to reduce the gun violence here. So it's not just locally. You know somebody in Chicago, Mississippi, California, Tennessee, all over the world, all over the country here, all over the 50 United States. Put the name down. Thank you.